Hi, it's good to see you, and welcome to our presentation on how the acid and base balance works. Okay. Now, have you ever taken a course called Inorganic Chemistry, or Organic Chemistry? Those courses teach you so much about one thing, and that one thing we're going to look at today. It's called hydrogen. We're not going to go nowhere near as deep, but we're going to give you a nice concept what differentiates between an acid and a base, and it's hydrogen. Hydrogen will determine in our body whether or not we're more acidic or we're more alkaline. Now, based on this, we can also see the more acidic we are, the less we are able to contract our muscles. But the more alkaline we are, the more we are able to move around and sprint as fast as I want to sprint, or do like a bunch of push-ups or bench press, a whole bunch of weight or squat. I can do that more when I'm alkaline. But when I'm acidic, I have a bunch of hydrogens that are not bonded with other molecules. So when hydrogen is bonded with another molecule, that means I'm alkaline. But when hydrogen is by itself, I'm more acidic. And then that means I'm not as strong. And here's another process to give some more clear understanding. So, when I'm exercising, at exercise, I'm more acidic. Why? Because I'm moving. And as I'm moving, my body is using ATP and breaking it down. And the byproduct of when you use this energy, ATP, you're releasing hydrogens in your body. Okay? And also, our body creates lactic acid as we work out, the more intense. And as we have more lactic acid, the lactic acid breaks apart. And then hydrogen is released by itself. So with these two things, the ATP and the lactic acid, they both release hydrogen when we're exercising. So we become more acidic and we're not able to lift as much weight or to run for that sprint in as fast as we want to, or even for longer duration activities like cardiovascular activities like triathlons or even a marathon. Now, when the body is at rest, I'm at rest. I have more potential energy inside me. I have not built up lactic acid, and I'm not using energy right now. So I have all that stored energy, and I'm not using the hydrogen. Therefore, my pH is more normal, and it's more on the alkaline side. And to determine, as far as using numbers, what's alkaline and what's not, our normal pH resting value is 7.04. Is 7.4 plus or minus 0.05. So if somebody has a pH of 6.9, that's more on the acidic side. And if someone has a pH of 7.9, that's more on the alkaline side. And also we see, now this is just a little bit off the topic, but more note, we've also seen that people have a higher predisposition for cancer, type 2 diabetes, and heart attack when they're more acidic. Foods that have more acid in them are proteins. Proteins can help us with muscle mass and stuff, but if we consume too many proteins that are animal proteins, I meant to say animal, because we have vegetarian protein. All foods have protein. But the ones that are the complete proteins, the animals, if we have too much of that, if you're a bodybuilder and you tell yourself, oh, well, they told me I need 2 grams of protein for each pound I weigh, and I weigh 200 pounds, so I'm going to eat 400 grams of protein. So that means I'm going to eat, there's 40 grams in a chicken breast that's pretty big, so I'm going to eat 10 chicken breasts in one day. That's crazy, and there's people that do that because they want thousands of pounds of muscle. And if you do that, chances are you're going to be much more susceptible to catching, from what we've seen as the research shows, based off of studies in Juice Plus and based off of the other studies all across the board, that there's a good chance you're going to die at an earlier age. This is given. This is known. As we've seen in other cultures in Asia and things like that, when they're eating a lot of lettuce and vegetarians, normally you're going to be more alkaline and you have the option to live up to 120, 130 years old. But my personal thing, I like to live in balance. And what we've also seen is that the body can sustain its muscle mass, especially you're able to keep your muscle mass when you've been exercising you've been training for a long time. You don't need as much protein to keep all your muscle. And we've also even seen in some studies that all you really may need is 15 grams of protein a day that are the essential proteins, your complete proteins that come from chicken, that come from beef, that come from, well, let's just say the more holistic ones: the chicken, the fish, the egg whites, the beans, and then you have your beef and your steak with the creatine, with the high power. If you just take in 15 grams a day, then you're still meeting the needs to sustain your vital life organ capacity, and you'll keep a lot of your muscle mass still. This is Chris, Natural Body Man. Have fun and exercise. Yeah!